I know the feeling, because I don't need them for reading, but I need them for everything else.
Yeah, and I can't, like, and even at work, I'm like, oh, I got this, and you're doing one of these.
Yeah.
Then you just tortured yourself.
Yeah. Do you have a thing?
Oh, I probably could.
Are we all set?
Maybe I put in the checkbook, it would look better.
That would be nice.
Should be quick.
They would add zeros on the end.
We can start the
Not
meeting,
bad.
I'm just trying to get my notes up.
Are you recording?
The meeting is live.
Okay. So, this is the meeting of the Webster Planning Board for September 15th, 2002. Let's start with attendance. We'll start over here with Mr. King.
I am here.
Craig Fournier is present.
Marlo Herrick.
Adam Mock?
Okay. We're missing one member tonight, Susan Youngs, but we have a quorum, so we will continue. Impact, the fourth item is impact fee appeal. What are we looking at here?
So that would be from Nancy.
That would be for me, Nancy Rossborough, 1539 Battle Street. When I went to pay the impact fee, I paid it, not realizing, but in your ordinance for the impact fee, it does not give a time requirement for, because it was a previous home that was on that lot. So since it was a previous home, I shouldn't have had to pay the impact fee. Because there is no time limit. There is one written for a non-conforming lot, but not for a house lot. The house was burnt in '08. Stone foundation was still there as of when I bought the land. But I was asked to pay the impact fee.
How long ago, how long have you owned the property?
I bought it in fall of 2020. Put a double wide on it, put on a pad, and put a double wide on it in February of 2021, and got occupancy May 8th of 2021.
So you're saying that because there was a previous house there, I'm just trying to understand what the
That's okay.
is here. But because there was a previous house there, that they paid the impact fee back then?
I don't know.
I think the home existed before there was
Right.
impact fees.
It did, yeah. It was an old house.
Okay.
It was the
Yeah.
Scots.
And so, why don't you think you owe the impact fee?
Because on the bottom part of the ordinance on page, I think it's 23,
You have that?
Oh, I know you.
We have, can you just read it out? Read the whole
I can
thing.
pull it up. I can pull it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. if
You
would,
read it.
yeah, you
Right.
read it, Russ.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm not good at reading out loud.
The existing house that burnt was a house made out of wood, or was it a mobile home?
It's out of wood, as far as I know.
It was what?
As far as I know, I thought it was wood.
And you're putting in a mobile home?
I did. I put in a double wide,
That's two different structures.
but it doesn't
Did
specify between the two.
they tear the house down?
My understanding that it was burnt by somebody,
Yes,
Weed, in '08, and I don't know if the town took it down in '09, or the rest of it down in '09. There was a very big lawsuit or something about it, I don't know.
I think the record showed, well, the town wouldn't have taken it down. So,
No.
because the owner would have had to have taken it down. I think
Okay.
there are records saying that the owner did tear down the house.
He tore it down,
He tore it down.
yeah.
The rest of the way.
Sorry, I'm just trying to write down the
Yeah.
note before I read the impact thing.
That's fine.
Alright, so impact fees. Article 11, impact fees. Purpose, the ordinance is enacted. Okay, so which part do we really need?
The new development shall not include,
Yep, okay. Just going to the right spot. I thought this. New development means activity resulted in the creation of a new dwelling unit or units, or the conversion of a legally existing use to additional thereof, which was result in a net increase in the number of units, constructing resulting in no non-residential buildings, or net increase in the net floor area of any non-residential building. The conversion of existing use to another use of such creates a net increase in the demand on public capital facilities that are the subject to impact fee assessment. New development shall not include replacement of existing home or the reconstruction of a structure that has been fire or natural disaster where there is no change in its size, density, or type of use, and where there is no net increase in demand on the public capital facilities of the town of Webster. So that's the whole section on it.
And there's not a time frame mentioned in that.
There is not. And there is also a response from the town attorney, because I put the question forward to him in your packet, so you can read that.
It's kind of vague.
So this is, 42.
Nope, that's not actually one. Oh, it's on the other side too, I hate that. No, that's not it. It looks like that. I can read that, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to wanna.
Is that a 0 or 8? 48, or is that 40 feet?
So how does your structure compare to the old structure?
I had no access to the taxing that's in this packet here.
Well, I did put both property
It's in
cards
here.
in there, so you
In
can
here
see the
now.
floor plan of the
Oh,
old house.
okay,
and the
okay,
floor
that's
plan
what,
of the
I
new
understand.
Okay, now.
Jeez,
house. I try to be prepared.
I know, and I'm thinking, why do I
Well,
have this one?
You are prepared, Russ.
You are, I get
It's
confused
just,
easily.
yeah, we're,
So it's like 1,000 square feet different, is that what I'm reading on there as far as the area? It's 15, 12 per mobile home versus the 2592 is
So
what would
there-
be the other
so
house
theirs was
was.
more.
See it? So you got 2,592 square feet, and she's probably has 15, 12.
Yeah,
Is that, am I reading that right?
it's less.
Mine's less.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
and was it
5,000
built, was
square
it built
feet.
on the same foundation as the old house?
No, because that burnt, so I had a,
Right,
Build
but
it,
you
it's
didn't
not
use
safe.
the old foundation?
no.
Okay, so you're starting out square one new.
Well, I have to put a pad down, I mean,
Yeah, but,
okay,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm still on the same house lot, it didn't say anything about
Yeah.
the same foundation. You wouldn't wanna build on same foundation because of the fire anyway, because it would be a poor foundation. POOR, not a poured foundation.
Well, here's the letter from the attorney.
Yeah, I saw that.
It says if there is any difference from the size, density, or type of use of the prior structure that was burned or removed back in 2008 or a bit earlier, if there is, then the new home clearly falls within the impact ordinance's definition of new development. So, yeah, I'm inclined to, I'm gonna offer an opinion here. That since this was not built on the old thing, it was not a redevelopment of the old building, this is a new development. And consequently, the fee applies, I think. Anybody else have ideas here?
Well, you wouldn't wanna build it on the same foundation, because if it's a fire, that cement is poor. and
Well,
you have to,
I understand that, but the wording of this, the wording of the ordinance is pretty clear.
um,
Russ, what's your take on it?
What's my take on it?
Yeah,
So,
no change in size, density, or type of use, or type of use.
yeah,
Doesn't
So-
have to be the same size. There's an or in there.
so
Not and.
my opinion is when I was looking in whether to charge the impact fee, I talked with Therese about it, and we both kind of agree that since it had been vacant for 14 years, I think it was 14 years, that it was
Yeah,
basically a
08 to
vacant
20.
lot. However, this top part puts that into question of whether the time frame. So that's kind of the part that I've been kind of wrestling with for me. And then there's the bottom part, which is the appeal process, but I don't know, I didn't know about it at the time, so I couldn't have sold her that, and that's why I kind of feel bad about the second half. Because if I'd known, I would have told you, but I
Right,
didn't know about that.
Okay, so let me ask you one question. How many times has that piece of land changed hands since
since we
Scotty?
I mean, I would have to go down to my avatar
It's-
assessing, because I can only access the
the
Kurtz.
Scots, who sold it to Whedon, who burnt it, and then it was sold to another lady who has a sister in town. And then that was sold to a younger couple, and I bought it.
So it's changed hands at least 3 times
Three
since
times.
Scotty, and then you.
And then me, and everybody put in building plans and everything, but nobody ever did anything with it.
So it had a septic design
Yes,
from Scotty
previous,
to,
from 2 people back. So within 2 years, because it's only good for 2 years.
so it wasn't any good for you.
No, it was good for me. So it was within that 2-year
That's
period that it
changed.
changed 3 hands.
3 times with no house on it.
well, I think what you are concerned about is the rule is stated as it's stated, which, you know,
There's no,
we can all debate about the impact fee, probably sitting up here, but with that being said, especially in any town, even probably where I live, you know, there's been a house there since the late 1700s, and it's changed hands, but if it burns and somebody rebuilds, does that cause an impact fee? Or if it sits, yeah, I mean, that's, all I'd be concerned about, any which way we rule, we're kind of setting a precedence to say, you know what I'm trying to say? Because yes, it says that here, but there's already been a dwelling on it, but you could kind of go around town and say, there may have been a dwelling there, and somebody comes in and buys it, and they don't put it back on the same stamp, and they could say, well, I don't think I deserve to have an impact fee, because there had been a dwelling there at some point in time. That's what I would be concerned about if we were to say, no, you don't have to pay it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Moving forward, somebody could say, am I wrong saying that? Somebody could say, well, back in,
So, I got another example of
Okay,
that,
good.
and actually, I own a piece of land on Battle Street that had a house on it, the power's still there, the septic's still there. If I was to put a new house there, it would be kind of the same thing that she's up against, but, I mean, that's been vacant, I'm the second owner of it, you know, it hasn't changed hands 4 times. But and the house has been gone probably not as long as the one that she has. So if she can get away without having an impact fee, I could go build the same. Could I do that?
Well, that's the issue.
right, I think, really, unfortunately, it catches us in a catch-22.
I mean,
Again, I didn't come up with
I
it.
think another way of looking at this is, you know, the impact fee is to provide for fire services and boating services and all kinds of stuff, so. Yeah, I think new development should pay a fee.
So I'd have to make
But
him
it
pay one.
doesn't, but it says here that it's not to include. So that's in your own ordinance.
Not to include.
That says new development should not include the replacement of existing mobile home or the reconstruction of a structure that was destroyed by fire or natural disaster.
Recent?
It doesn't say recent.
Oh, I thought that's what you
There's
just
no
said.
time limit on this one. There is on the
Okay.
non-conforming lot, but not on this.
Oh dear, they missed a word.
I'm
You know,
still-
I mean, they did, I mean,
Yeah,
Well, I
I'm still,
know, but-
well, that's the thing about all these, there are
Yeah.
holes in all of them.
yeah, true.
Now, I've looked through a whole bunch of RSAs since I wrote the letter, and there's, you know, there's nothing that gives a time limit.
Right.
It does on a non-conforming lot for the state or the RSAs, but not for a house lot.
You have any thoughts, Paul?
I'm thinking that somewhere in the planning board, rules, and it's been brought up a number of times before, but I can't tell you exactly what the situations are, that you have 2 years to rebuild on that property, but I don't know beyond that what it means, because I can't remember.
That's on the non-conforming lot, and that's on page
Could very well
13.
be.
Yeah, that's for the non-conforming uses.
Yep,
Expire within 2 years. If not rebuilt.
yep, okay.
So she's pretty much got her homework done there, I'd say, whether we like it, whether we don't. And so that would give me the right to,
So,
See, we know where your vote's going now.
You and how many other thousand of people in town?
what's
but
that?
how many
Said you
old,
and how many other thousand people in town?
Yeah, but if it's down in black and white, and it's not that I'm for it, because I don't, it just, you know what I'm saying? If it's in black and white where none of us can sit here and say that she has to pay it because she's got all the information that says she doesn't, right? In a roundabout way.
Well,
We probably should do
So-
some more research on this
Well-
before things,
the Russ passed this by the lawyer. And do you want me to read this?
yeah,
First
I
paragraph.
saw his, what it was on there.
It says, given that the property has been vacant since 2008, and even though the former house had been destroyed by fire, it doesn't sound like this new construction of a home was the reconstruction of the prior home, which it wasn't. I suggest you and the board examine the size, density, and type of use of the existing structure and see if there's any difference from the size, density, and type of use of the prior structure that was burned or removed back in 2008. If there is, then the new home clearly falls within the impacts ordinance definition of new development.
But she's under square footage wise by 1,000 feet.
Doesn't matter, she could be over by 1,000 feet, doesn't matter.
Do we have any idea of when the impact fee started?
Impact
Oh, what
fees,
year?
I am not sure when that change was made. Because it doesn't list in the ordinance when that was adopted.
Well, 15 years ago.
27,
I would have
well,
to-
on the front of this, the last amendment was 2017, before that was 2014, 2013, I mean, it goes all the way
Yeah, but
back to
I think it-
75, 74.
I think it went back further than the most recent one.
Hmm.
But I would have to go through all the zoning ordinances history. I can go pull that book up from downstairs if you want.
It kind of reminds you, oh, sorry, Paul, go ahead.
The problem I'm having here is if the impact fees didn't start until the teens, there was never an impact fee paid on this house.
But that does not matter with one of the RSAs for the state. And I don't remember which one, but I can go back.
It kind of reminds you of when you tear down a structure and you better put the same structure up
Right.
with a certain amount of time. I think what we are lacking though, or the town, or whoever wrote the ordinance, it does feel like a little bit that it's lacking a time frame.
Yeah,
You know,
and it's changed hands 4 times, a piece of land.
right,
That's the only thing I got
yeah,
for a problem
well,
with
and then
this.
what you're thinking is how come, well, they didn't build on it,
They didn't build, they had a
Yeah.
permit, they had septic, they had a well.
but they didn't build until you
But-
came along.
They didn't build, well, because they found a bit of land over in Northwood.
Yeah, no, but they had bought it, but they didn't ever pay an impact fee because they didn't
never
build.
built.
Right. It's a tricky one.
This doesn't look like a colonial house or anything like that, does it?
No, it's called a salt box.
I know, I like how they call it a salt box. I wouldn't call that anything.
It wasn't
Together
much.
like
No.
my house.
Oh dear.
Well, somebody wanna make a motion? We gotta decide this.
Well, did you make one?
I haven't made,
Oh,
one.
okay.
I just offered an opinion.
Oh, okay.
I say we probably better make a motion to research this just a little bit further. What do you think of that?
Well, who would we talk with?
Probably,
Well, you could meet with the lawyer if you wanted to, but that'll,
so we don't, right, get in any kind of trouble.
Well, I think you wish you could ask the lawyer what she's saying, like, you know, the fact that there's the term and that.
remember, were you around for the last time? You can set up a meeting with the attorney in person and sit down and talk with him.
I think we're gonna set a precedence whichever way, so don't, you know what I mean,
It's all right.
whichever way, because I look at it, especially in this town, there's a lot of old homes that used to be on a site, you have one.
Yeah.
I live in one, and there's all kinds around you, and all of a sudden, you know, we say to you, no, you don't have to pay, and if somebody's paying attention, then they'll say, well, back in 1843,
Right.
there was a house there, you know?
Right, see that old summer home
Yeah,
over
well,
there?
and right, I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Oh, yeah, no, I
really
mean,
around
I
here.
have a perfect example of,
Well, you are, right,
actually, I have 2 of them when it gets
Yeah.
right down to it. I got a
right,
5-acre piece and I got a 75-acre piece. One has a house standing on it now, and the other one, I bought it and they tore it down just a shade before I got it. I've had the piece of land for 5 years, so.
either that, or if we decided to vote either way, then we need to make this a little clearer, if you ask me.
You mean-
The rule.
Well, this is not the.
No, I know, I'm
this is
sorry,
opinion, yeah.
I'm pointing to his opinion, but
Yeah.
the rule,
Yeah.
so that we
Yeah.
don't end up in these situations
Well,
many more times.
Hey, Russ, if we make a change in the road, that has to go before the town.
Now,
Yeah.
Okay,
That- you
Yeah.
have to- I mean,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
can't just make a
Okay,
rule.
that's good, that's fine, I'm fine with that, I don't wanna be the rule changer, I'm just saying.
Well, that's right, I mean, you know, what we should do is have a whiteboard with all the things we want to change, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
there's not just one thing,
No, that
there's
is
a whole
fact.
bunch of things that
Well,
need
we can-
changing.
We can have them make a note of
That's
that
one of the
needs to be,
things.
right, moving forward with
That's a
Yeah.
good thing
I
to
mean,
pick
wouldn't
up on.
you say that in this
clarify the
town-
language.
a non-impact fee, if you really wanted to boil it down to it, most of the land around here, somebody's had a dwelling on it?
Non-impact fee?
No, I mean, wouldn't you say that in this town especially, I think, is a lot of old land, there's a lot of places that have had a
Houses.
dwelling at
Yeah,
some point in time on
Right,
them.
absolutely, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and, you know,
So if that house never burnt and I bought it, I wouldn't have had to pay an impact fee.
say that
If
again.
it was standing there.
If it was standing there and hadn't burnt,
Right,
and I bought it, I wouldn't have had to pay an
That's
impact
right,
fee.
you have to grandfather, that's right.
Do you guys wanna talk to the attorney? Do you wanna come back and do more research?
I mean, what, you say research, well, I'm a little, I need
Well,
some
just
clarification.
see what, talk to the attorney is kind of what I, you know, go through some of the, more of the rules that we already have to see if somewhere that, something like that is
Alright.
in there, or you have everything right there.
Yeah, most everything. I can get the ordinance history, I just don't have the date of when
when it was all,
When impact fees were
Right.
adopted.
And we also need to find out if the fees were actually paid, or if this is the first time they've come up.
Well, she paid them.
I paid them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
You,
paid
you
them.
paid them, yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, previous.
I don't know if Whedon wouldn't have paid it because he bought the house.
Mhm.
And the
Right.
Scots before
No, they
that,
still don't.
I'm sure
Owned
there
the
wasn't
house.
one,
he didn't have to, cause he owned it. Scott,
so, yes.
that was the
Scots.
old house.
Yeah,
way
so Whedon
before
bought
the-
it,
Impact fee time.
right?
I think it was
And,
before.
Oh, yeah, way that house was, his mother
yeah,
lived in it.
so, because he burnt it,
We could put it off for a week or a month, not make a decision tonight. Do a little more contact, I think we could contact the central
Planning board,
planning board, see if they have an opinion.
yeah,
I tried to call the New Hampshire, I don't have the name, you told me to call them, but they wouldn't talk to me because I'm not an official of the state of Webster.
Oh, okay.
Well, we can fix that if you wanna join the zoning board.
Yeah. So,
Got one more alternate
just to
slot.
beware, this was not of my knowledge until I came to the meeting for the house up the street. Which was said, if they tear it down and build again, they won't have to pay.
Well, if they have to build on the same footprint.
That was not said at that meeting, they said they didn't have to pay because it was already existing and.
Well, I was probably here and I missed that.
So, well, it caught my ear,
Yeah, I bet it did.
so, I mean, it needs to be, if,
But
there's
even when
no time limit on this, so that is why I'm here.
But even in what she reads, what's the ordinance, and this is what makes you think a little bit about the attorney, it doesn't say it has to be the same footprint
No.
in the ordinance either.
No,
Well, it does,
It does?
doesn't it?
When
Read
she
it.
read
So,
it,
once
No.
again,
I didn't.
What's the ordinance say?
it doesn't,
I didn't.
right,
that's where we're getting into the dicey
Fine
area
line.
of this. Cause I think the attorney, I mean, I can't
Well, what, read
comment
the,
on what the attorney's saying.
read the ordinance once again, please.
I'm gonna go back to the bottom of page.
I wish we had, next time get a printout of the ordinance.
You want me to go get one?
is this it here?
For next month.
Is
Okay.
that the ordinance that,
Oh, that cause she wrote it
Right.
in there.
yeah, I wrote that, that was that part about,
in
The
that, that's
size.
in that ordinance?
yes,
New development shall not include the replacement of an existing mobile home or the reconstruction of a structure that has been destroyed by fire or natural disaster where there is no change in size, density, or type of use, and where there is no net increase in the demand of the public capital facilities to the town of Webster.
Well,
When
I
you
mean, it
go,
was a vacant lot and she built a place, so
Well, that
there's
sounds,
an
I mean-
impact.
it's not, would it constitute reconstruction, because it's not reconstructing the same house.
Yeah, it's not.
That's
vacant.
really where my question lies.
But they do mention same footing, same
nope, size,
it's-
density, or
Size,
type.
density, or,
size, density.
I had to read it again, cause I almost thought what you thought, new development shall not
Shall not.
include. It did said new development shall include.
Right.
We'd be having a different conversation right
Mm-hmm.
now,
right,
correct?
but, and then,
I
so
wouldn't be here.
where there is no change in its size, okay? So, if you go by that, you've changed the size of the building you put in there versus what was there.
Yeah.
When you
Or-
get right
So
down
new
to the
development
nitty,
should not include that then.
Right,
it,
Where
so,
there is no
so I'm
change-
not, I mean,
So this-
when you go by your square footage size, you've changed the footprint of it.
That's okay though, cause it shall not include, shall not. Right, am I reading that, am I saying?
I am not an attorney.
no, it
So-
says by natural net, where there is no change in size, density, or type, not N type,
Right.
or,
New development should not include.
should not.
So it's, to me, when I read that, but I'm not that bright, that it says that new development means if you change or you do any of that, that's not considered new development.
Right, if I change from a conforming lot to a non-conforming lot, yes. If I change from a non-conforming lot to a conforming lot, yes, but I'm not changing. It is
Right, you're
still a
not
house
changing
lot.
the lot, you're changing the house. You've changed the size of that house, if you go by, there's no change in its
Size,
You
density.
go by this, if you go by the change of its size, you had a house there that had 2,500 square feet, you got one that's 15. That's change in size to me.
Right, right.
So, is that where the lawyer is?
Well, the other thing is, there was a vacant lot, and now there's a net increase in demand on public capital facilities for the town of Webster, too, right?
Well, technically, yes, and,
No, because if that house was still existing and I bought the house, I wouldn't have paid the impact fee.
right, because it was an old house.
It was burnt.
But the thing of it is, and I'm not saying that if this is the way, you know, the change of size of the house, you've changed the size of the house. Any way you look at it. It's going from 2,500 square feet to 15.
Right.
So it's changed the size of the house.
Density or, it didn't say and, or. Does it all three, do all three have to be there, or is it, because it's an or, one of them be left out?
Like I said, to me, this is an attorney thing.
Whatever.
This is over my head, so.
Yeah, that's why I think that
See you next
Alright.
month.
needs to be more research done.
Right.
All right, so you wanna make a motion?
I did.
Oh, you,
Make a motion.
I
Well,
already
repeat-
made you the motion that
repeat your motion, please.
I think we should take and, do some more research on the way it's lettered or however, and probably talk to the town attorney to find out when it's all, or the regional planning, you know,
We can do both.
You would do
and,
both.
and do that, and then we're doing the right thing,
Right, for everyone, you know?
right?
Any discussion on the matter? We have a second?
I
I'll
said-
second.
no, either one.
Okay. I have discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep,
All right,
So-
what is it?
that would be the fairest thing.
So next I will contact the planning commission.
Yeah.
And then I'll set up a meeting with the town attorney.
Okay, and we'll, put this on the agenda for next month.
And that would be October,
Third,
Third
third
Thursday.
Thursday, I don't have a
Third
calendar.
Thursday.
That's October.
and since you're the first one to get something in, you'll be first on the agenda again.
Oh boy, you guys get to meet me again?
Well,
Well,
The
What
house
did you
looks
do?
nice you put in there.
Huh?
That house looks nice.
Thank you.
Well,
Looks
you gave
good.
me donuts,
Blueberry
so I had to
bushes are
keep it
blooming, the rhubarb,
Nice.
grapes,
That's great.
asparagus, it's
Looks
all there, not by me though.
No, the asparagus
It's
probably
existing.
was all Mrs. Hilbert.
Mm-hmm. So when was it, October, what did you say?
October 20th.
Right,
20th.
that's probably the correct thing to do, is
Ah, yeah.
that way we're not,
Like she says, the town up in their own words.
Some this stuff comes
I
up.
know.
And you figure it out.
As you find it.
Yes, yes. Well, thank
Okay,
you.
That's it on that.
thank you,
Okay.
thank you for coming by, Nancy.
Well, you're welcome. I'm just, trying to get some money back.
Well,
Yeah.
that's fair. I would do the same thing. I don't hold it against you.
Wow.
and I'd go build a new home without the impact fee.
There you go. Now, if you put a time limit in there, you better build
Yes,
fast.
well, that one was done way before the one I bought, so if you get away with it, I can.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Really, how many old foundations are on land in town?
Oh, there's a lot. There's
Oh,
summer
wow.
homes all over the place.
That's why we gotta make sure however we do this, either way, I mean, we all don't want you to pay more money or not get, we don't want you not getting your money back, but moving forward, I could see
Moving
this
forward,
being a
you gotta
very
put a time on
disastrous
it.
thing.
Because there is no time, otherwise I wouldn't be here.
That's right.
I got electricity, water, and sewer all right there.
In my times when I was walking the bounds for a subdivision, I have found numerous cell.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
Covered
that
with
was,
trees growing up through the middle of them, but
We're a very old town, and
They're
just
still
look
there.
around, it's,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but,
yet they're still there.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Nancy.
thank you. I mean, even the electric company took down the wires, and when they came to put them back up, I said, who took them down? And they said, we did. I said, then why am I paying for more? And I didn't pay for more, they just put them up.
Atta girl.
You're a fighter.
That's right.
mine's still there with telephone.
Huh?
I said mine is still there with
The
telephone.
dial kind.
Mine's a push button, I have a landline.
That's the crank.
Thank you.
See
Yep.
ya.
Thank you.
Here, you have the crank. Yeah, little figure.
Issue number 5, New Hampshire Municipal Association Planning and Zoning Legislative Update.
Okay, I got a list, because I don't know if everybody read it, but I
Scan.
summarized it. And made myself some bullet points, so I'll remember, I'll go over all the big changes.
Okay,
Except for section 70, I think it's 74 is ZBA, so it doesn't affect you. So,
You
the
get a pen?
first one doesn't really matter that much, because we were doing it anyway. Training can come from any source other than New Hampshire Office of Planning Division, such as the NHMA. We already go through trainings like that. The second one we've already done, fees must be published on the website. Our fees are published on the website. I believe all of them are, but I'm gonna double check. Anyway. Section 70 provides gives towns incentives to reduce lot sizes and increase density for creating elderly houses. If the board wants me to look into what the incentives are, I can.
So,
Section 73, the boards have to be very specific on written facts when you make approvals or disapprovals of applications. This may vary depending on the controversy of the application. And if extreme controversy exists, you should probably contact the town attorney before you write that letter to get his opinion on it. Or her, I don't know if we'll have the same person forever. And the fact should be clear enough that reviewing in court will know the reason for why you made your decision and give the applicant enough information so if they want to reapply, they can fix everything that happened previously. So the next one is the board has 30 days to determine if an application is complete and 65 days to act on an application. So that's for like our
We've
subdivisions
been
or
doing
site
that for
plans.
years.
Right. But one of the big changes is if we don't act upon and seeing if it's complete in 30 days, it's approved. The application, not the subdivision, but the application is approved as complete. And, yeah. However, this does not affect the additional 30 days if it has regional impact. And on the section 76 eliminates the board's, the ability to request from the select board for an even further extension, so that's gone now. I don't think we've ever used it. Fee shifting, this allows the courts to require a bond for the appealing parties whenever appeal is filed in court. That way the attorney fees will be rewarded automatically. And section 70 expands the definition of public use to include any property purchased for workforce housing. And that means municipalities can also purchase property for workforce housing. Section 79 allows municipalities to develop economic development districts to revitalize or revitalization districts that will promote the increase of the housing stock. I'm not sure how those work. I don't know if we want one in Webster, but if we do, I can look into it. And the last one is preventing zoning ordinance to affect churches. Somebody wants to put a church in town. Can't say no. However, you can still limit the regulations regarding, say, setbacks, building heights, and the requirement for open space. We can still impose that. That's basically it.
so, this came from the New Hampshire Municipal Association. What does this mean in terms of us?
I mean, most of it,
do
not
we-
much.
I mean, these are state laws?
Yes, it's state
Yeah.
laws.
These are
New
state
state
laws.
changes.
Okay.
So I thought
They're
that,
new state changes, right?
yeah, these are this year. And a lot of them were effective August 23rd.
Oh, okay.
So this is now the rule of the land, and I thought the application one was pretty poignant
Yeah.
for us, and the fees was important.
Well, I like also written findings where you have to specify.
Yeah, I think
the
that makes
regs
sense.
And it has to be able to stand up in court. You just can't say no.
Well, the other thing I've been meaning to ask, and I think I keep forgetting about it, is if we wanna start, say when we approve a subdivision and we have conditions on it, do we wanna record those conditions at the registry of deeds?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
That way, it's easier for me to look up later down the line.
Yeah.
Say if we approve a site plan, we say we want you to have these, that way if somebody doesn't follow them, we can be
Yeah.
like, well, you signed this and it was notarized and we recorded it. So that's the rule.
Yeah.
So we're all in agreement of that one. So I'll prepare that in the future for future subdivisions and site plan reviews. But those are basically the changes.
All right, well, thank you for going over
Yeah,
that.
very
Yeah.
much.
Um,
Keep us in line.
So for the meeting next month, print out the section of the regs for Nancy
Yeah.
and,
So one of the things I was gonna do is if we wanted to, I probably should ask, is we can set up an in-person meeting with the lawyer. And that is what is called a not a meeting, because we're consulting with counsel and that'll allow you to talk to them without having minutes or having the meeting be recorded, because that's attorney-client privilege.
So we'll be able to talk to the attorney and.
Right, cause he's
get
consulting
this
you
Of
on,
what's what.
and then you can
Yeah.
ask your questions.
I mean, I get what she's coming from, but then again, when you've seen the piece of land change 4 times, and it hasn't had a house on it all them years, it wouldn't be any different than me going up there and putting a house in, but I would kinda expect I'd have to pay some fees.
well, that's.
You know,
that's
cause the
sort of
house,
my
but in the
feeling
house,
on that.
the piece of land where I had the house, it hasn't been gone as long as what she's, you know, and I'm the
Right.
second owner of it.
I think we should try to keep the discussion of this when she's here, at least to be fair.
Yep.
And, you know, do our research in between, and I'll set up everything, and I'll send an email to the board when I got everything set up. And I'll probably have to ask the attorney for times when he's
Mhm.
available to come down. Or, I don't
We
know if
could
everybody
Zoom.
can drive, I think he's in Concord, and you go to his
We could-
office too.
Well, we
Well, it
can,
can't be Zoom, it has to be in person.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. Yeah, or whichever.
So it will be here, you'll have him come out and,
Yeah.
alright. 6 in the morning, good, or
Perfect. I love it.
5:36 would be good?
Price three's working out pretty well for me right now.
that's good, Eddie.
After 10
Yeah, I
years, I
could
still
do it.
can't sleep beyond 5
No.
I
minutes.
know, that's for
that's
sure.
a
No.
It's dark out when I get up. I hate that. I liked it when it was light out.
Okay, moving on. Number 6, NHDOT response to DeBello driveway. I don't know if you've read this, but
I think
what
I
they're,
showed that to everybody but Addie, who's here.
what they're
No, I
saying.
got it.
Did you read it?
Oh, well,
The
let's see.
I love this last
Yeah, the
part.
last part.
This right here.
It was very much my favorite.
Yeah, Yeah.
That says because we, oh, you read it, see what you think it says.
I mean, they're talking about the 1971 property. Why the hell do they care about the 1971
That's their
property?
rules. Called arbitrary and capricious. Or in other words, it's based on BS. It's a lawyer term. That's what they say. It
I'm
basically
glad
means
you're
it's
on-
based on
I'm
BS.
glad you got this down, Russ.
Well, that's like the one legal
Deny.
class. It's one of the things I remember.
Force that
You know,
to
if it's
happen.
arbitrary and capricious,
That's
don't do
right.
it.
And
It's
he
gotta
knows
be
me
based on
anyway,
something.
that guy.
Yeah, oh,
Guys do.
yeah. But more or less, his sight distance wasn't right, they said. But did they, when you read this, do you see what it says? See, I wouldn't know. And then the whole thing with the 3, but there again, this says that we have nothing to do
We
with
have
this
nothing to do
anyways.
with this.
So it doesn't, it's just to let us know.
Well, they let us know, and now we have an answer, and we can go with that answer.
Yeah.
How come the guy doesn't close one of his driveways in?
That's,
Well, I
that's,
think-
He supposedly has, but he
That's
never
right.
blocked it off, the one by the barn.
yeah.
Yeah?
He never blocked it off, but he's supposedly not using it anymore.
Well, if you drive by it, you can't even see it. because
No, it
it's
doesn't
all
look like,
over
I never
ground.
even know there was one there either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They,
Well, he's gonna have, well, I don't know what he's, I don't wanna say anything.
That's right, because it's not for us really.
the, his land has been subdivided.
Yeah,
You walked it with me.
yeah, that's right. So he's
So-
got 5 acres around the house.
So
and
the
then-
house with that U-shaped driveway once he sells that, it's no longer in his name.
That's right.
So he's gonna have to find some way
Yeah.
to get access back to his property.
Yes,
So at that point, the state cannot say no. Well, they can.
after he's sold it,
Once he sells that piece of property, he's got to have access to his property
Well,
on that.
that's the trick.
But the only other issue is the state says he's got to have 300 feet of clearing.
Site.
And he does not have that.
Well, I never thought that.
Okay.
does he have it like,
He never had it on any of those driveways. He doesn't have 300 feet in either direction.
none of them?
Yeah,
Nope.
no, that's
None
right.
of it.
Think
That's
about
right.
the whole road of 127.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, that was,
The town
before.
requires 100 feet.
yeah.
Anyways, but
So that's kinda he's
That's
gonna
all
have
his
to
deal.
deal with that.
He's got- that's
So
his
we're
problem.
done with him.
That's his
We're
problem.
done, no more approvals.
All right.
And just so the board will know, myself and Emmett have never signed a construction permit for him to have that driveway.
You guys have not.
We have not,
Yeah, cause that's
and we
state,
won't
state,
until he gets straightened out.
yeah. That's his deal.
Okay,
We're done with it, right?
We're done.
we're done with it, it's up to him to deal with the state.
And in 2 years, well, the planning board did grant him the construction permit.
Yeah, the planning board granted him construction.
They granted him, but it has to be signed by the
Well-
designated of the planning board and also the fire chief, and it's never been done.
I mean, I can sign it on behalf of the planning board, I mean, because we did vote to approve it, we can't just take it away. But then again, in 2 years, if it's not constructed, he just tell me he has to close it if it's not.
And we have no control of that, it's the state highway, the state's gonna have to tell him to close it.
Yep.
We can't.
And they'll do it too, cause they'll come right out.
but he does have a construction permit for 2
He does,
years.
because we voted to give it
We
to him.
voted for it.
Yeah.
So, okay,
That's not
moving
great if you
on.
build and then they shut you down. your driveway down, so.
Right. Code enforcement letter follow-up.
All right, so I think everybody saw what I sent, because
Yeah.
of the request from Edison Shea, to see what he was doing down there. So he did respond to me, and we had a talk on the phone, and he said, all he's doing is putting in the stairs, putting some, evening out the area where he intends to use, and parking his van there while he's doing the work. So all those things are allowed in our ordinance. We have no regulation for stairs, as long as it's outside of the town's right of way, that's not an issue. And there is no regulation for placing fill or parking your van on your property, because anybody can drive out into the line and park on it.
Okay, these,
And then we have another one, which was from last meeting,
yeah,
so I made the letter
Mobile home?
for the,
I mean,
for the camper
RVs.
RV.
Where'd I had that?
So I just need the board to sign that letter so I can send it.
That's for that.
I'll read the letter and then we'll pass it around. I guess
Did you bring a pen up?
I did.
Oh, good.
Did I? Maybe. I usually
I don't
hide
know.
one up
I
here,
need to refill
just in
my purse.
case.
Then I could put here.
Planning, I think the planning board has received complaints regarding the location of your recreational vehicle on Cashel Lane. The board reminds you that the town has regulations regarding the placement of RVs on residential lot. Article 3, Section 7 states that only one large RV, defined as 18 feet or more in overall length, is allowed on lots of 2 acres or less. The large RV placement must also meet the current setback requirements of 50 feet on each side, including is a copy of the town zoning regulations and a zoning board of adjustment applications for special exceptions, variance, or appeal from administrative decisions. If you have any questions, please call the land use coordinator, Tetro, or email.
I mean, the neighbor did come in and ask if the letter had been sent, and I said, no, because the planning board hasn't signed it yet. However, you know, if she doesn't wanna get the variance, and the owner just wants to move the van onto their yard 50 feet away from everything, it's good. And then she got upset.
Or if she proves
Well,
that,
she asked for us to make her put up a fence, and I'm like, the town can't make her put a fence.
No.
Want to sign that, Paul?
No, can't do it, yeah. They can get away with having the RV, cause it's probably the only one they've got that's 18 feet or longer.
So you're
they can-
allowed one,
But, yeah, they're allowed one, and they could probably get away with that, but they have to observe all the other
Right,
problems.
and that's why there's
The
this.
50-foot setback and,
Right, that's why I put, I don't know, depending on where they would put it, I don't know if it would be a special exception, if it's 25 feet off the neighbor's lawn, or a variance if they can't get it that far off.
Well, they can put up a fence too. They can block it from neighbor's view.
Well, they could,
They could,
So
yeah.
they could do that.
that would be the cheapest way out of it for them. Look at that.
but that's up to them, and we can't make them do it.
Nope.
Okay.
Almost like y'all.
When does the CIP have to be into the select board?
Like y'all.
Preferably before the budget's done in December, it will be about done,
Okay.
and then I have the next,
I talked to Barbara. No, I don't. Yeah, but she was on the original planning board set up when we did the original CIP, which took us 2 years. But- And she's willing to come back on, but we gotta hold it off for a couple of weeks, because she's very busy.
that's fine, I thought we were gonna be getting in October, so that would
Okay.
be a couple
Yeah,
weeks
we'll be
away.
good.
Who is this?
Barbara, and I can't think of the last name.
Corliss?
Corliss, Barbara Corliss, yes.
Yeah, she's a neighbor of mine.
Yeah, she's willing to come back on, and I told her it shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 meetings.
Yeah, okay.
It didn't last that long, so she's always.
Oh, that's good. I'm
Are we
glad
gonna
she-
do it like mid to end of October?
Right,
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
that's
Maybe
on
that's
the
on the last
agenda,
one.
cause I wanna get the date down, so I can tell people when it's
Yes.
gonna be.
With the date down. Do we need more people? I mean, should I ask her?
So I was gonna ask Roger Becker again,
Yeah, I
because
was
he
gonna
likes
say,
surveying
Roger
on
Becker
it.
was up, he's been doing it every year, and he's got all the information in his computer.
Well, I was gonna ask, Mr. Martin, I guess he is that CMG group there, Cedar Mill Group.
Yeah.
I think he's semi-retired.
Is he?
I
Yeah,
think so. He might, I mean, just to get him involved in the town.
he's a
stuff,
good
you know.
guy.
I'm not sure who the gentleman is.
Well,
And you're gonna be doing it.
Yeah.
as you drive on Deer Meadow Road, you go past, just before the Corliss Farm there on the, like, is it CMG Group?
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
CMG,
a sign.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, next item. Motion to update subdivision and site plan regulations.
Since we didn't make a motion at the public hearing, so we didn't do the public hearing, I just have a motion that I wrote out, and then I just need everybody to.
Oh, this is, yeah, okay.
Cause the other one goes for a warrant article, this one is a public hearing. And then-
Okay. As this says, to adopt the amendments to the subdivision and site plan regulations made at the August 18th public hearing of the Webster Planning Board as necessary to comply with the requirements of the National Flood Insurance
Oh,
Program.
right, yep.
So all those changes, I think, you want us to sign this thing, is that?
Yeah, I gotta sign that, and then we just gotta do the motion, so it's done.
Yeah.
There again,
And I
we-
pulled out the change, if anybody wants to look at the change, it's just that
there
little
again, we
highlighted
probably
thing.
don't have a choice.
Really, we don't.
All right, here's the change. It says the subdivision and site plans that involve land designated as special flood hazard areas by the National Flood Insurance Program. The planning board shall require that all proposals for development greater than 50 lots or 5 acres, whichever is the lesser, including base flood elevation data within such proposals, floodplain boundary at 100-year elevation. So basically, they got our arm up behind our back here.
They gonna break it?
Any discussion, any thoughts, Paul?
No. We'll just go ahead and do it, because we don't have a choice.
No.
So do we have a second on it?
We have a motion?
Yeah, I think we should do it as a motion.
All right, I move that we adopt the amendments to the subdivision site plan regulations made at the August 18th public hearing for the Webster Planning Board as necessary, all the changes to comply with the requirements of the National Flood Insurance Program. We have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Sorry, I just wanna make sure I dot all my T's across.
Yeah,
all my
no,
I's
you're
and do all
doing,
that.
you're doing good, but you're not getting a raise tonight.
I'm sorry.
He's tough.
I just don't want anybody to come back and say we didn't do it.
You keep it up, Russell. You keep it up.
No,
You're making us look good.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
You are.
I mean,
I second that, is that a motion?
No, I mean, none of us,
They make
none
the
of us
motion
have
at the town meeting if we're gonna give them a raise.
the time,
The time.
the time to.
Time to look all this up? No way. It's a lot of work.
Yes, Russell's doing a very good job.
Yes?
Try.
We'll keep you.
Then I have some correspondence for the end of the agenda, cause I wanna go over the ZBA stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah, I brought all the letters, cause, so you can see them.
All right, so let's talk about the
Here, pass it
ZBA,
down.
the ZBA stuff.
Yeah.
Let's
Do we have a
the-
date for
Let's do the CIP first.
Just
All
get
right.
the date done.
CIP meeting
Date.
scheduling.
Do we wanna do it after the planning board in October, so we can maybe appoint people to the committee and then
Yeah,
hold
it's
the
gotta
meeting?
be at least after mid-October for me.
Want to give us a date here?
Well, October 20th is the next planning board meeting,
Okay, so after that, that'll work out good.
so do we wanna,
We're gonna do it on a Friday, the Friday after that?
Yeah, that's-
We could.
21st?
That's date night for daddy, though.
Cutting right into that old Budweiser time, pretty bad. You gonna bring it? Huh? We usually quit at noon.
Sorry.
Doesn't stop till you can't walk.
Right.
Haven't done one of those
That should
parties
be
in
a
a long
good
time.
Budweiser commercial.
I would almost say we could leave it on a Thursday night,
Yeah, that's fine.
that avoids your Friday night dates.
Yeah, that's good by me.
Thank God you didn't come tell Robert
And,
that.
and also your
Or
liquid
she'd
time.
go without me anyways, it don't matter, right?
So,
Probably be glad I
the
was
meeting,
here
the
Friday
planning
night.
board meeting is the 20th, so if we have the first one on the 27th,
That
We
work
wanna
for you
do it-
guys?
That's fine, do we wanna do it, what time?
And
Do
it's
we
just
wanna
who's
do it
on the
today?
committee, that does not necessarily include me, right?
Correct.
Okay, good, thank God.
any preference of time?
Whatever works for you guys.
Cause we can hold
6:30.
those during the
I'm
day.
retired, anytime is good for me almost.
6:30.
We can do it that, if you guys wanna do it midday, something like that, that's
I
good
love it
by.
when you guys
It's,
do
it's,
that.
I- not
I'm
do it during the day.
retired, I don't care.
It's up to you guys.
I do not do it during the day.
Alright,
I
that's
got too much
fine.
else going.
Okay.
Yeah, no, me too, I mean, I,
Let's figure on 6:30.
yeah.
6:30.
It shouldn't last too awfully long. Do we have the form sent out yet?
The forms have already been sent out
Do
and
we have
we've
any-
had one response.
On this one?
However, there was additional stuff going on with some of the other, Emmett's gonna sit down and talk to me, but the police response may be delayed for other reasons. So,
Okay,
there's just something going on.
so hopefully we'll get enough of them back so we can talk about them on the 20th.
Phil's son passed away.
He
Yeah,
did
we should be able to, I've already got
this week.
the big
Oh, yeah,
one,
today.
the other big
Oh,
one,
yeah.
which is the transfer station, I've got all that stuff.
Jeez,
Scary crap.
yeah.
CIP, the 27th at 6.
You gonna send us out a note, right?
Yeah,
Alright,
oh yeah, I'll send you out,
you just keep that paper coming,
That's right.
alright?
and believe me, I'll remind you at the planning board meeting.
Alright, that's good, cause my mind is short.
Mine too, apparently, I mean. So now do we wanna go over these?
Change that, sorry. All right, so I'll let Barbara call, or you'll let Barbara call us know, you said your neighbor?
Yes, I
You
will.
let her know when the date was, so
Yeah,
that should be clear enough.
You're
so she
talking
can-
neighbors, right?
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I can
No, I
remind you.
said I was gonna go
No,
over this.
actually, I can do it because she wants to talk to me about something else.
All right,
I'll take care of it,
all right,
let her know when,
okay.
okay. So that'll be the first one, then we'll just plan as we need them from then on.
Yeah. That's
And I'm
right.
sure we're gonna need more than
And
one,
we-
but we should need more than three.
Yeah, exactly. And we're gonna need, as Russ knows, we're gonna need that stuff from the different departments.
Yeah, like I said, we've only received one, the big responses are usually PD, transfer station,
And
roads.
roads, yeah.
He said he was gonna get some stuff together, and I can kick me in his butt, so we'll get it.
All right.
I know where he works.
Right.
All right.
Daniel will shut the door, Russ will open it.
That's correct, I've got a key.
Okay, you wanna talk about the
All right, so we-
zoning board, which met last night?
Voting
Tuesday
night.
Tuesday night.
I didn't see you on Tuesday.
I was out of town. I voted absentee.
Okay, that boy. I'm just kidding.
So,
Twice?
3
And I
times,
was
thank you.
only kidding.
So there was 4 hearings. The first one was pretty straightforward. It was for a special exception on Blackberry Lane to build an accessory structure, a shed within the 25-foot setback instead of the 50. As long as he proved that there was no detriment to the neighborhood, he proved it, so he got a special exception.
What
So-
number?
I think it's 54 Blackberry Lane.
Is it-
It isn't that new, new
No,
development.
no, that's the
It's-
Houstons. They just got their certificate of occupancy.
Is that in Pillsbury? Blackburn?
No, that's
Blackberry.
right down the road from here.
Oh, I think I know, yes, okay,
It's a little past the PD.
yeah.
The next one was Rob Belinsky, and that was, remember when we brought up the subject where he had the driveway and then he built it before, or after the board denied him? Or he didn't wait till the board approved it or denied it, he just built it? So he went to the ZBA, and there was a lot of discussion on that one, but in the end, he did get his variance.
Of course,
It was 2 to 3.
of course.
And now we're gonna be starting up the driveway application, so we're re-putting it, he's resubmitted his driveway application. And we're just gonna go through the process like any other driveway
Well, how come
application.
did it come before us? It already came
No,
before
It
us.
already came before us.
So why do we have to
I
review
don't think it ever
again?
came before us, because I stopped it, I killed it
Right,
I don't think it ever came before the planning board.
and then it was built, so I sent him a letter that he needed to remove it, or he could appeal the decision to the zoning board of adjustments. He went, appealed to the ZBA, and the ZBA granted him a variance on the road frontage.
So it's a done deal, though.
Well, it's not a done deal.
No done deal yet.
He can apply for the driveway permit because the frontage doesn't matter now. So even though he doesn't have the required frontage, they gave him a variance to have a second driveway for his farm.
This is really complicated.
So now it goes back to Paul and Emmett to review it, make sure it fits all the site distances, but they can't deny him on the frontage requirement, because that's variance.
There's no question about that, he's got plenty of sight distance.
Okay,
It's not an issue, it's just the issue that he had two.
two
Less
driveways,
than 500 feet.
and now it's not an issue. All right, next one was Paul Nelson, and he was the same thing, same sort of enforcement for a second driveway. The board did not grant him that one. Okay,
And where is his property?
that's in Pillsbury Lake.
Is that kind of up the hill?
I think it's on the corner of New London Drive. It's 117.
Okay.
So they stated that he had like the 2 driveway exits going out into New London Drive, and they felt that he didn't need the second entrance because he could just block off one of them and use the other one and use it as a turnaround. So he could turn around in his driveway and then leave, so it wouldn't be such a hazard leaving his driveway. So that was kind of their decision on that one. And then the final one,
Let me check.
because they saved the best for last.
Did they give him instructions or rules of what to do to block that driveway
That
off?
is gonna be up to you. They left it up to the road agent and Paul.
Okay,
So I'm trying to set up a meeting between you and him. He's already contacted me he's been very cooperative and is willing to close it off. So we'll set that up and then figure it out and give him a time frame to actually complete it. And the last one was Julie. So she came in to waive the appeal for the administrative decision for the temporary occupancy permit that the select board denied. But she withdrew that because she's no longer living on the property or in the process of moving off the property. So that's already taken care of there. And when it came to the siting of a house, they found that her plans were not complete enough yet to render a decision. So there had been her property plans were based on the pin locations that were proved to not be the correct locations, and that was what the plan was based off of, so they didn't know what she really needed. They didn't know what type of house she was gonna put there, because the constructing people that were going to put that house there, she could no longer get that manufactured home, so the sizing would be different. So they instructed her, gave her a list of things that she needs to do, such as get a septic plan approved, have all that done, pick the trailer that she wants to get in, do the buildable envelope section, put the house on it that she plans to buy and put there, and come back to the board with all of that, and then they'll make a decision. And that includes a driveway application and all that too. So that's kind of,
Well, wasn't she wanting an adjustment because she couldn't get the right setback from the road?
right, but because she's no longer using that house, and then there was the dispute with the property line that had been resolved. But that plan was based before the property line had been disputed, had been resolved, so that plan's not accurate.
Okay.
So they said they couldn't render a decision on it because they don't have all the facts that they need to render it.
Okay. Okey dokey.
Has she removed all the items from that lot?
I do not believe so.
Money for a house.
It's the one going down to Pillsbury Lake. It's all there.
It's all still there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was by there the other day.
Oh, yeah.
She come from Ohio? Is that where?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is she?
So that is still ongoing. but
Okay.
That part's taken care of at least, kind of, maybe.
Well, thank you for the update. I was wondering what was happening with that, so.
Well, if anybody wants to watch, the meeting video will be up soon. I meant to get it up today, but I downloaded it and didn't upload it, so that'll be up on Monday.
Okay. Next,
5 more hours tonight?
I did.
the next,
I'm taking a break on Friday, because I've already worked 3 doubles in a row.
good for you.
It was good to know, 'cause I know that, I know.
You take, are you taking?
Oh, okay.
I
If
know-
you
I
need
know-
to be here,
I
I'll
know.
be here.
I don't have to, I'm just done the
I know,
fair
right?
now,
Russ, what are we doing tomorrow? No, just kidding.
so I got some things
What,
down
you
there.
get
I
like,
gotta
what, 100,
get
500
ready-
bucks a year?
People at the bottom, I gotta get them ready to go.
250 once a month, I think? Yeah.
But yeah, if you
It's
guys,
not
if you
about
ever
that
get me
anyway,
some
so-
time,
That's not gonna keep you on the job.
and
No,
then
I
I
did,
will
I
let
think
him know.
that's
and
the
then
deal.
Well,
Oh,
I can make
change
myself
it.
available at any particular time,
Oh,
except
my,
Wednesday.
don't touch it.
we'll- Okay.
Wednesday's the only day I can't do anything for
Takes me
anybody.
out to dinner, my alcohol.
Then I'll ask him what his availability is
Yep.
like, and then we'll send the couple dates to
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Nelson, and we'll
Just,
figure it out.
just pretty much tell them any day but Wednesday.
Yeah. Then we'll get it done.
Okay.
I just prefer not to let it sit, I'd rather just get it taken care of.
No, don't let it go too long.
Yeah, I don't like
No.
doing that.
No. Get it resolved so he can get his part of it done and we can get rid of it.
Yeah,
We have enough problems with driveways out there now,
well, at least we're starting to make it dead.
which leads me to this situation.
Well, let's do
We gotta do the minutes first.
the minutes,
Thank you.
which is approving the minutes from the last month's
I've been through
meeting.
them, and I don't see a problem with them, so.
I looked good to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm all set.
Let's have a motion.
Make a motion to accept, last meeting's minutes.
I approve.
Of all of them?
I approve. All right, all in
Some of these
favor?
motions
All
aren't
in
passed.
favor?
I would also add to your motion as written.
As written.
I would, that's what I said. No, I was thinking it after I said it.
Okay.
As
all we can
because
do.
he says he's gonna cross his
I
eyes
do, I
and,
try, that's
Oh,
something we do
absolutely.
have to work
So-
on, because
So,
if we ever get challenged in court and the motion isn't perfectly reflecting
Yeah,
what we
it's
did,
out.
they are going to crucify us. So,
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. 4-0. Okay, next item is Paul, you have some.
now this is on the new business, which really isn't, but it is. We talked about this briefly last month. So I wrote up this little issue here, and maybe we need to change the wording or whatever, we can decide that. tonight, or we can sleep on it and do it next month, but it really needs to be done as soon as possible. 'Cause we already had one screw up, and I don't wanna see another one. I don't know, we may have more out there. We probably got, what, 150 driveways
Yeah.
at least out there, and partials, and haven't come back to us as far as finished or whatever.
Well, I'm working out a system so it doesn't happen. So that if they expire in 2 years, we can go out and take a look at them, send them a letter and say, you
Yep.
need to come back and we need to sign off on it. Or at least we can go out and do a visual inspection to see if they built it, if the apron's there and all that, we
Mhm.
can sign off on it.
Yep.
So do you wanna put a time limit on this? Is that-
So I think Paul was trying to put into the subdivision or the driveway regulations.
Driveway regulations and wherever else it has to
So
go.
my thing is, I don't think it belongs in the driveway regulations, however, I do think we should put it in our procedures for the way we approve and finalize building permits. Cause I don't think, cause there are people who have driveways that aren't building
I was
houses.
gonna say.
Yep.
Like,
That's why I think it makes sense over here, but not over here. Anybody disagree with
So we could take and put driveways in without building the houses, get a permit and put them in, and they'd be fine?
Right,
Okay.
well, once they review
Cause
them.
I got a couple that I'd like to do that, that I'm not gonna build on.
well, you can do that,
Yeah.
I just won't give you an address until you finish it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I think makes sense to, I mean, I can talk to the building inspector about it too, and maybe we'll write something up for the way we approve building permits and final inspections, and talk to them about it too, and we can put that into our rules and policies for how we do it.
Well, I don't know about that particular aspect, but I'm looking at that very end of the procedure, it's a certificate of occupancy. Cannot be issued until the driveway has been finalized.
Right, that's what I'm getting at, we can
Yeah.
add it to the certificate of occupancy permit form, that all things, including the driveway, need to be complete before the certificate of occupancy is issued. And that's something I can let the owners sign off on when they sign their building permits, that they agree to make sure that everything is
Done.
done.
So this wouldn't require a change in the regs or something, this is just
I-
on the application.
I think this is something we would more wanna put in our building permit, as part of the building
Building
permit, that
permit.
they sign and they agree to follow these rules during the permit.
Okay.
I don't know if Paul agrees with that.
Yep.
Okay,
As long as it gets in there to the point where nothing is, they can't move in until we get that driveway done.
right. Which
I
leads
don't
us-
care where you put it.
Yeah.
Who issues the certificate of occupancy?
So the certificate of occupancy, the way it's done right now, is the building inspector signs it and Emmett signs it. So they both do separate inspections, and once they've both completed their inspections, it's signed off on that it's done and it's safe, they can move in.
Okay.
Now, that's another question, I've had a lot of discussions with Paul, Emmett, and residents about the driveway regulations, and I think maybe we should take a look at the driveway regulations at some point. I don't know if Paul agrees with me on this one, but there's been a lot of discussion. Emmett seems to think that the permits take too long to get approved and done. I think we've had the similar discussions on that some of the enforcement in the process doesn't.
Well, I'm not, as far as taking too long, I don't see any big hurry.
I don't-
Get this done.
I can't,
mean,
no, I
I-
don't
it
agree
gives
that
it takes
too
time to
long.
review this stuff. and
Right.
I'd just as soon take the time rather than.
Well, I think
say-
he was getting, not on our time to review it, but the time from which we grant the permit and to when the permit's complete.
Yes. that-
That's where he was
yeah.
getting at, that it takes.
He's having a hard time there, and when talking with him, he will not sign off on the final, if they're building a house, until the house is complete.
Yep.
But if you're just gonna put a driveway in and guaranteed no house, then it's a different story.
How about down the road? If you got a, like, say you got 2 lots, you put a driveway in, and then, you get it all, so it's all in approved, and then you wanna build a house 2-3 years down the road.
I don't see a problem.
There's
No
no problem,
problem.
it's already approved.
I don't see a problem.
So the-
But I don't understand why a driveway can't be approved prior to the house being done.
We
Okay.
have always done it that way in the
Oh.
past, but I
Yeah.
don't know why, I don't know what Emmett's thinking about why he's doing that. But he also wants to cut it back to 6 months, to the 2 years. And I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it. I don't know, understand his way of thinking on it.
Well, and I think
Because it
there's,
takes longer than 6 months to build a house.
well, God, yeah, and
Yeah, so
just
you
even
can't-
sometimes, no, and not just that, some of our regulations are a lot stricter than the other towns around us. You know, even with the, oh, help me, with the
Great.
grade, thank you, of it, you know what I mean? You know, especially in the town we live, or the state we live in, 5%'s not very much. So I do think there's some things that could
Well,
be
that's one of
reviewed.
those things where I was thinking maybe we could do a subcommittee or something. Maybe get some of the people that have applied to driveway permits recently to come and sit on it.
Mhm.
Emmett, Paul, and then a couple members of planning board and sit down and just see if there's anything we can do to fix some of the issues that keep coming up over and over again. For example, me and Paul have had a lot of hard time dealing with some applicants who just don't give us the required information and then refuse to give us the required information.
And they don't get what they want until we get what we want.
Yep. That's been,
I'm sorry, but I don't mean to be a hard nose about it, but
I agree. I mean,
Well, I think we all sit here and think fair is fair. That's why tonight we're
Yeah.
gonna do more research, cause,
if this person here has to supply exactly what they
Right.
want, why can't this person be forced to supply exactly what?
right,
Make it a fair table.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
that was just my thought. The board can do what it wants, but I think
I
it'd be
think
a good
I think
idea to
there's
get
some
everybody.
review, I think there's some review needed on them.
I think that'd be good to get all the parties sit down and talk about it. Cause I don't think Emmett was a part of the original driveway. Was he a part of that original discussion?
For which one?
For the adoption of the driveway, was anybody around back then?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
The driveways
And
were
there's some things
all
in there that
set before I took
I
over,
mean,
I
in
come
New
to join
Hampshire,
the board,
5%
so.
Yeah, cause I
Radius.
remember when you, cause I read
Radius
the
about
minutes when it
5%
transferred from Jerry Buckley over to.
Everywhere, it's 10%.
But previous to that,
Right.
Jerry Buckley was
What was
doing
the
it with
one
Emmett.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Warner's
So-
10%, I think, I looked it up.
I just,
And I went out with Jerry and
Yeah.
to learn
Some
the
of that's a
ropes
little
and
Two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
took over for Jerry, so.
yeah,
It's hard
So,
to get a driveway.
Do we need a motion about this?
Which also brings
I don't
us,
think so. I'm
brings us
just
to,
gonna change it.
one more thing we gotta think about. Someone's gonna have to take over for me one of these days.
How close are you to retiring?
I got 2 more years before I make up my mind on that, so.
3 years.
Well, we probably got him at then, kid.
Well, my contract is good until 24.
And then we're gonna vote you right back in again, so you'll be here for how
Only
many
if I
years
sign-
after that?
Only if I sign the application.
You'll be right back
Well,
in
I'm-
again, so you're gonna be good to go.
Well, yeah, we'll deal with that.
No,
but-
it's
Wait,
just something to
wait.
think, something to think about.
Yeah, it is. We really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.
I want to say.
And if I'm incapacitated or whatever, someone's gonna need to go out and fill in for me, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
that's
I'll
the
be
big
happy to
thing.
go out and fill in for you. I think I know how to do that.
You know enough, and Emmett won't lead you astray,
Yeah.
you'll listen to him and he'll take care of you. As long as he's around. He gets
Oh.
mad enough to quit, he'll quit, so.
Right?
Okay.
I think your favorite thing to do, go ahead.
Yes. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I second.
Uh,
Did I say that right? No, I have to make a motion? Is
Yeah,
that-
you make a
I'll
motion.
make a
I'll second
motion
it.
to adjourn the meeting
It's 7:52.
at 7:52 on September
15.
15th.
Okay.
Next-
I got yelled at
next
last
day.
time I told you the time to adjourn, because you're like, I was doing it myself. Craig, you seconded?
I second the motion to approve the minutes of last, excuse
No, we
me.
already did
I already
that.
did that one, Craig. It's
To
late.
adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm gonna go hit the video.
All right.
That wasn't bad.
It's,
I guess, is everybody okay
7:53.
with the wording on this? I guess
Yeah.
we never discussed that part of it.
No, I-
know the meeting is
I
done.
can't, that's